Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. We are the Mile High Property Brothers. Today, still a little cold, it's still fall. I still got my rain jacket on and my lucky rain hat. Shout out to Tony Robbins.
You're the TV guru guy.
Yes, Tony Robbins, pleased to meet you.
Yeah! Oh, man!
It's not that he sponsors this channel, but Tony, if you're watching, if you'd like to sponsor, we would love to have a sponsor, because right now, we're only sponsored by the Mile High Property Brothers.
Hey.
And by you guys that watch and support us. We super appreciate you guys. But getting into it, we will be talking about new builds.
Yes.
Good, the bad. Is it for you? Is it not for you? Either way, as you guys know, let's just dive into some details to see if it fits your needs.
What's up, guys? I'm Eli Schmidt. This is my partner, Will Grimes. If it's your first time checking us out, first of all, welcome. Second of all, while you're here, hit that subscribe button and don't forget the notification bell, because every Tuesday, every Thursday, we drop in a new one of these, telling you everything there is to know about living or moving to the entire Denver, Colorado area.
100%. And we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado, which means just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help with those real estate needs.
Yes.
So that number that's popping up below are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So if we can help you, we would love to. But today, let's help you with some information in regards to new builds. Good, bad, for you, not for you? What are they in the first place? Let's dive into it.
Now, we wanted to make this video because we help a ton of you guys buy new builds. And on top of that, it is very contextual because the process with new builds will change as the market is changing, as there's more pre-existing homes, as there's less pre-existing homes, depending on what interest rates are doing. And now more than ever, man, we are seeing so many opportunities within new builds that we had to make this video.
And let's explain that. So contextually, guys, last year we probably did more than 35 new builds as far as all the transactions we did total.
Usually about a third of our...
Yeah, so total between all of you folks that have come through on our YouTube channel to include our sphere and our friends and family and our follow-up or our repeat business, 35 plus. That's pretty active as far as like new builds and having relationships with Toll Brothers and Richmond American and Lennar, which has its own benefit. But let's talk about why there's incentives versus people just saying like, hey, it's a great time to buy a new build.
Right.
Why? Well, first and foremost is traditional inventory is up, which means your existing homes that people are already living in. That inventory is up. Like it or not, new builds have to compete with that type of inventory. A lot of people that move into new builds isn't just for price points. It's also because there's just not enough opportunity to buy in the heart wherever they're looking for. So they will grab new builds that start to pop up in communities like on the outskirt of wherever they're at. Doesn't mean you can't find some in central Denver or in Parker, and like you don't have to go way out to Bumbuck, wherever. Like there's plenty. There are still some centrally located. There are still plenty in like your Denver Metro and some of these neighborhoods, but the bottom line is they compete with pre-existing homes. Now, when you had zero inventory for pre-existing homes a year ago, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, they were literally creating lot premiums on new builds that were just unrealistic, guys. They were literally putting...
There was too much demand.
Well, there was so much demand,
the brakes,
but what they did was they started putting the lots into a bidding process where you could bid, and whoever bid the most on that dirt lot would get the build, and then you would get the build, and you would get the build at a more expensive price because not only could they charge more, but supply for goods and material were more. Well, let's talk about that. Inventory's back up on pre-existing homes, so they can't have this bidding process as far as on those lots because there's no demand for just that dirt lot. Secondly, material cost for builders is down like 70% or 77%. So wood and material costs are just down to planet Earth where they should be, which means builders don't have to charge that much because it's also not realistically just costing them significantly more to build the homes. And because you have pre-existing demand and because you have material costs lower and ability to build homes more proficient for not just them as a builder, but all of the other new builds that they compete with, they can't afford to go through the roof. They can't afford to do these things because, again, it's not just a competition with other new builders, right? Lennar versus Richmond or Lennar versus whoever. They have to look at that, but the pre-existing homes. So long story short here, not only is cost down, but they don't have as much demand. So they want to incentivize you through their lending programs and through their overall price points to buy their home versus something else.
That is true. And right now, guys, negotiations are back. And that was something that had been off the table with new builds for years and years and years. Now, even back then, a lot of you guys may or may not know, but usually what you'll find is that a builder has partnered with a lender or they have in-house lending, and there's usually some sort of lender incentives if you go with their lender with that build. Now, what we're seeing now, because again, like we talked about in our last video, there are so many options to buy down your interest rate. You're seeing builders be able to take a lot more of a hit on that lender incentive, offer a lot more of that lender incentive because they have the in-house lending. You know, they're saving money there. It's kind of like when you're just buying something extra from the same company, they can give you a lot bigger discount than if you go outside of that. Correct. So we're seeing some massive buy downs, $30,000, $40,000 of interest rate. So not only not having to compete on the price, you're able to negotiate on the price, and on top of that, you're getting these massive buy downs so that you're also getting a good interest rate.
And it's not like they're just giving money away, right? Like everything has to come from somewhere. So understand when developers buy land from whoever has developed those lots, understand that they're getting it from the source a lot more affordable now just because of how the market is. Like it's not being sold as expensive to them, which means it doesn't have to be sold as expensive to you. It doesn't mean that there's not unnecessary like upsales in any type of sales, real estate, cars, Amazon, whatever you think, right? Like it all boils down to supply and demand. If there's not as much demand for something, then like the developers that own the land in the first place can't sell for as high, right? So there's all like this domino effect. But what I really appreciated with a lot of the new builds that we work with is even when there was very little inventory and the demand was high and they were throwing these vacant lots or these developed like just dirt lots into a bidding process, whatever it may be, between the handful of developers and builders that we work with, they were still in great communication with us and taking care of our buyers. We do a lot, which means those representatives that work in Castle Rock, in Southeast Aurora, in Littleton, wherever you guys are looking, they've got a relationship with us. They've had so many consistent buyers come through us. They like working with us. So even when it was hot, they were communicating and keeping those relationships established, which we appreciate. Now that there's a ton more opportunity and things have slowed down on the new build side, they're still super in communication with us. They're still super in communication with wanting to make things work, especially for some of our buyers because of the relationship we have with them. So if you guys do have questions on new builds, first and foremost, having that relationship can be a great contributor, and just having people that are familiar with new builds and that contract, because it's not your Colorado real estate contract. And if agents aren't doing a ton of new builds with several different types of builders, they're not familiar. You want to make sure that you are, and you want to make sure that you've got relationships established, so when the negotiations happen, hey, if you guys are coming through us, you're a realistic buyer, and they're okay to do that because they trust in the process with us. So a good thing to think about.
Now, staying true to the title of this video, which is Colorado New Builds, the good and the bad. We've talked a lot about the good. Let's talk on a couple of the bad points. The first thing that comes to mind, like Will said, supply chain issues are cleared up for the most part. However, there are some certain things that are just out of builders' hands. For example, we've got a client right now. We're purchasing Richmond home in Castle Rock. One of the things that they wanted were black window frames for their house. They're doing like a modern farmhouse look. They wanted the white and black theme.
Some people like that.
You get the idea, kind of like that. But they can't get the black windows, right? And it's out of their control. So a little frustrating for the client, but overall it still ended up being a phenomenal deal, and they're excited to move along with the home. They're gonna get someone to come in afterward and paint the window frames black.
Correct.
So there are just some things that, man, the builders just don't have control over.
Correct, but again, it's pro and con, and how much more benefit are you getting from the lot that you want, or the house that you want, in the neighborhood that you want, versus new builds 7 months ago, 9 months ago. It was like, if you're lucky enough to win that lot, it is where it is. And then you're gonna grab it up because circumstantially you just have to buy during that market, and you're gonna do what you can. Right now, well, you've got some things coming up, but there's variety, there's options, which means when you go into a new build community, you're gonna have several things to choose from as far as, hey, which lot do you want? Or you might have a spec home that's almost done, but it's in a cul-de-sac, or it backs up to a greenbelt, and it's still available. But hey, maybe not the black window frames. That could be adjusted even so by now of us making this video, but it's something to think about. You did have some appliance delays. Those seem to be all wrapped up. Appliance companies not getting things out quick enough, not necessarily on the builder, right? But hey, depending on the delays, is it still worth the totality of you guys having a great deal? But for the record, as of October 7th, we have not seen any appliance delays for homes.
Now, the one other thing I do want to mention here, just a couple of what may be unexpected expenses for you that come along with the new build. One of them, surprisingly, is window coverings. New builds do not come with window coverings. You don't pick that in the design
window
center.
coverings like for like those garden level like window.
No.
No. Talking about those?
Blinds. Blinds.
They don't come with those
They
either.
don't come with those. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Correct. They don't come with window well covers.
Window well covers.
Yep. Because we've got basements here. You want to cover those so no kids or animals fall in. But mini blinds, curtains. I don't think you expect them to come with curtains, but no blinds.
Right.
And that can be really expensive on a big house when
Depending on how you go.
when you're trying to put them all on your house. So look for that. Also landscaping. In Colorado, they will do the front yard landscaping.
Right.
99.9% of builders do not include backyard landscaping.
Correct.
So that's something you'll have to do yourself.
Hey, but you can negotiate maybe having something like that done
That's
for you.
true.
And hey, could you negotiate blinds or a credit toward blinds because maybe
Credits,
you already
yeah.
have a great interest rate? Hey, great. Either way, when you guys are going through this new build process with us alongside of you, there's nothing that you're not going to be aware of as far as expenses that would be out of your pocket after closing, like blinds or window well coverings, whatever it may be. And it's not like we're not going to be able to shop for those to let you guys understand realistically based off of what you're looking for and what you like. Hey, what does the cost look like getting into that after closing? That way you can compare and contrast. Okay, what am I bringing to closing to close on this home? What am I expected to pay for myself after closing? What does that budget look like? And then let's compare and contrast that to other new builds. Let's also compare and contrast it to a pre-existing home that you guys like. Because hey, maybe a new build for you, maybe it's not. What I will say is most of our clients are open to both. It really comes down to location within the location, as in, so Southeast Aurora would be the location, but then it backs up to a greenbelt. It's on a cul-de-sac. So that's like a location within the location. And hey, it's pre-existing, but it needs some updates. But there's updates that maybe have to be had versus like a new build. Maybe it's got everything that you need as far as updates and whatever it may be, but you just don't like the location within the location. Most people are just open to both. It really just comes down to individual opportunity of each home, what the incentives are, what the upgrades are, what you're in it for, the commute to work. But I suggest, just like most people do, hey, let's look at both and let's figure out the totality of each home that you enjoy or each home that you love to figure out what the best deal looks like for you.
100%, guys.
Also 100% is this number popping back up below every single time, reminding you that yes, we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado, and yes, just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with those real estate needs. So that number that's still up below, we are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So if we can help you, we would love to. But hey, until next time, hey, we've got a fun one, guys.
Yeah,
we are going out to Vegas to speak at a real estate conference in front of 10,000. This is going to be, or just over 10,000.
Big deal.
So this should be a lot of fun. I'm excited to pour into other agents and help train them as far as what we do and how proficient we are. But more importantly, while we're out there, we're gonna have some fun doing a Vegas to Colorado video. Now, just because it's Vegas and you don't live in Vegas or you don't live in Nevada doesn't mean that that video won't pertain to you. There could be a lot of different things that might, especially if you're in that surrounding area. But either way, we're excited to film that while we're out there. We're excited to bring you guys consistent content no matter what we're doing in our business or our brand. We are consistent, making sure that we give you guys as much content as possible that's relevant for you. So excited to bring that. But until that video, you guys enjoy the rest of your week and this weekend, and we will see you guys very soon.
See you guys.